What is going on with the Eagles and Carson Wentz? You're hearing all sorts of noise, and also the 30th Street Station ticker sign is gone. What do we think about this? What does this mean for our area? Check out episode 1 of Toole Time, where we're going to go over it all and more. Got Jess Lion from our team. Very excited to have her. I'm Tom Toole, and this is going to be more of a debate, different point of view type of show. So, Jess, what do you have to say?
Just make sure you stay on your side of the fence. But so we're talking about Wentz, right?
Yeah, so we're going to run through a couple different topics. We'll go over everything. First topic, pretty timely right now, is what's going on with the Eagles and Carson Wentz. We've seen all this stuff come out on a Philly Voice article where they said he was a selfish, uncompromising, playing favorites, and really it got to a point where the article read a lot differently than the headline, which is usually the case with these things. So I certainly got an opinion on this. Jess, what did you think after reading the article?
Yeah, I mean, they were saying he was egotistical, kind of splitting apart the team. And, after reading it and paying attention to it a little bit, I mean, it just sounded to me like, this article didn't have any sources. Like, he didn't name the sources. So I think it was just fluff. I mean, the season for them is over at this point. I feel like it was just kind of like a talking point, honestly. All of his teammates got on Twitter and everything, and they were kind of like saying, it's discredited. It's not true at all. We support him. We love him. We love Ginger Jesus, So
the author is Joe Santoliquito from the Philly Voice, and I actually heard an interview about this. And he got on, was 97.5, I think the morning show or something. I was getting in my car, and I usually don't listen to sports talk, but in this case I did because I was so shocked about the article. Yeah. Kind of knowing what we know, at least on the outside, and a little bit on the inside too. So, we have a team member of ours who's no longer here. Her husband worked for the Eagles. Yeah. Yes, and never really heard any of this stuff. Not that he's gossiping or anything like that, but everyone was pretty excited when they drafted him. I don't agree with you on that he didn't have any sources. He just didn't name them, is what he said.
Okay.
In the interview, he talked about having like 8 to 10 sources. Football teams are pretty large. They have a 53-man roster, so I don't know that everyone's going to like everyone. Seeing what happened this year, one, the guy's coming off an ACL surgery, so that takes at least 12 months to recover from. He was back in 9. Secondly, in the article, they compared him to Andrew Luck, and they said who had a better season and went over all these stats. But the reality is he only played 11 games. So you can't really compare one to the other because now the Eagles' offense coordinator from last year, he's the head coach in Indy. So, a lot of this stuff here, I'm sure people were ticked. They were losing. What NFL player wants to lose? Until Foles came in, then they started winning again, and they're the defending Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of them were frustrated, but, he got them to where they needed to be in the position for, going to the playoffs, and they were in it. And, Nick carried it a little bit farther, but, I think he did his job.
I'm not saying he did or didn't do his job. I just know if I was him, being a quarterback that got your team the last year to a point where you're the number 1 seed in the NFC, that they were right there. Foles came in, didn't have a great end to the season last year, then amazing playoff run. There's no negative connotation in my mind for either of these guys. And then he comes back, and it's supposed to be his team. He's the franchise quarterback. They traded all that for him. I'd be pressing too. I'd be pissed off that I wasn't the one on the field hoisting the trophy. So was he pressing a little bit? That's kind of what it sounds like. I know I'd probably feel the same way. I don't know that he was totally healthy. There's probably a lot going on, and it's only his 3rd year in the league, and he's a young guy who just got married. So I would feel the pressure. I would maybe be a little more not in my normal day-to-day sort of mindset. So I don't know that it's that far off. I don't really agree with the article. It looks like a lot of clickbait to me, the way they positioned it. And what are the players supposed to say? What are they going to be like, hey, we hate this guy?
Exactly.
They're obviously going to come out and defend him.
Exactly. I feel like it was kind of leading to that there's more division in the team than there really is. But I think at the end of the day, they're gonna support him.
Well, it's funny you mention that, because if you read deeper in the article and on the interview, He said, hey, this is all correctable. They just need to go in there, show each other some love, and be done. So what the hell are we talking about here?
Yeah.
To me, this is a classic example of the media in sports trolling the fan base. There are so many people like this in our marketplace. Angelo Cataldi, nothing but a troll. That guy's been getting paid for being a troll. He's #1 on the air every year. This is another example where, yeah, I'm sure there's some stuff going on in the locker room. These are 53 different personalities that are trying to get along. I know what it's like at home, just trying to get along with my family, or at work. I mean, you have
even
15,
on our team.
Yeah, exactly. So,
for sure.
To me, this looks like it was probably overblown, but I don't know that it was that far off. I wouldn't be surprised if that they were talking about Zach Ertz specifically because they passed the ball to him so much, and it seemed like a lot of that was, hey, spread the ball around a little more, and that's what he was doing last year. But he also lost a lot of people. It was a new team, and he's coming off an injury. So I don't know. I would say that.
Are we on opposite sides of the fence?
I bet some of this stuff happened. I don't think it was as severe as they are making it out to be in this article.
Right. I mean, maybe it did. I think it was just something to push along conversation now that the season was over for them.
Maybe. But you look at some of the best athletes, they're not always easy to get along with.
He's a leader.
Well, Michael Jordan was the most aggressive guy at practice. He would get in people's faces. He actually punched his teammates. I'd want to be his teammate. So
you wouldn't want to be his teammate?
I would want to be his teammate,
I would
no question.
want to be his teammate, just don't punch me.
Well, I'm not, I think there's some lawsuit ramifications there if that happens.
Maybe.
So probably happened. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Not a big deal.
All right, so moving on. So topic number 2, 30th Street Station. So they just changed the classic ticker sign. Hopefully we can get a photo in here to kind of show people that. If you don't know what that is, it's basically like a roll dial of numbers. When the new train would come, it would all click, clack, all that sort of stuff.
For sure.
And show what track to get on, etc. And right now there's like an HD TV in there. If you've seen it, there's a new sign going in a little bit. So what do you think about all this, Jess? I mean, that was like an iconic Philadelphia thing.
It was iconic. I was actually watching Split the other day, and in one of the scenes you can see the Split flat board in the background, so you know where it is. You know he's in the train station in Philly. And I feel like it just was kind of the whole experience of being in that train station. You could hear it clicking when it would change and everything. So I think it's pretty sad that it's going to go. It was kind of one of the things that we're known for.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad a lot of things go, like when outdoor plumbing went out the door. I mean, like, what are we talking about here? They had to custom fit all the pieces anytime there was a repair. So you're running a business here. I mean, Amtrak's a business. 30th Street Station still is a very cool train station. I mean, you go to New York, Penn Station's a dump. DC's got a really nice one. So certainly that feel is still there. If you have to go get a custom repair done every time,
it's expensive. It takes time.
The station's running every day, so it's iconic, no question. They're putting it in a museum, so it's not like the sign's going away. I just, it's 2019. I mean, do you still want to be typing things on a typewriter, or do you want to use your computer? Like, I mean, where are we going with this?
I feel like I like older things like that. Like, what is it? The instead of CDs, they have what's the word? I'm drawing a blank.
Records?
Record players.
Cassettes?
Yeah, they're coming back. They're fun.
I mean, I don't know.
That's old.
I don't know what car operates a cassette player these days, unless you're driving something from the mid '80s.
Not the cassette player, like records, like the ones on with the table.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Same person who didn't know what Home Improvement was is talking about records. I mean, this is pretty ironic here.
My 17-year-old sister has like a better record collection than pretty much I think anybody out there right now. So they're coming back. Old things are good.
So records are now that's one of those things like pieces of vinyl is actually what a lot of the collectors call them. I'd rather listen to stuff on my phone anywhere, anytime. This is the greatest time to be alive, according to Gary Vee, with the technology we have. So while it was a cool sign, I mean, I've seen it a bunch of times. I loved it. As of running a business, we're not writing contracts on typewriters.
That's true.
We're not pressing hard 3 times on the carbon copy paperwork. We're sending things electronically. So while I hear where you're coming from, I would have loved to see the sign maybe get put up in the station. Would have been a little cooler than the museum.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
it's all the way out in Lancaster where this thing is going, so it's like not even close to the city. So.
Yeah, so I would have loved to see maybe some sort of homage paid to it there, but if you have to get a custom repair made every time and you got people trying to get on a train, they're not going to care what the sign looks like if they don't know what track they have to get on and they got 10 minutes to get to their stop.
Did you see the one that they have now that's up? It's like...
That is temporary. It's an HD TV. It's no different than what we have right next to us here.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe they should have kept it a little bit longer.
A little bit longer, so it could break more and then cause more problems?
No. We'll see.
Point to Tom. Okay.
So are we like 0 for 2 right now? Like
it looks that way. It looks that way.
Come on.
So I don't know if I'm winning actually, but it's two different opinions. That's what this is about. Okay. So topic number 3. I'm not going to tip my hand here, but there are a lot of realtors out there that will tell people wait until after the Super Bowl to list your home. What do you think about that, Jess?
I think a huge number of the population is so into the Super Bowl and things like that, but there is an equal part of the population who is not like that into the Super Bowl. I mean, waiting to list your home till after a 4-hour game doesn't really make that much sense to me. There are tons of qualified buyers who are ready to go, and they're not going to wait to find a house. Yeah,
this is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life, to be very clear. So I'm not going to mince words on this one. Let me give you some stats. So far this year, through yesterday, 2,213 homes have gone under contract from the 1st of the year until the 28th of January, $645 million of volume. That's in Philadelphia, Delaware, Montgomery, Chester counties. Last year, 3,089 homes sold between the 1st of January and the 4th of February, the Super Bowl, $891 million in volume. So when I hear realtors say this kind of stuff, they are saying it because someone probably told them that, and it's probably their agent down the hall that sold 2 homes last year and doesn't know what the heck she's talking about. I see a lot of data here that tells me homes are selling. I'll take it one step further in terms of the activity we're seeing right now. You hosted an open house this weekend with 30 different parties coming through at a higher end, luxury sort of premium market where there typically are less buyers. So any agents that telling you this, if you're watching this right now, ask them for the data. I mean, to me, it's that simple because they don't look at the data, they don't do their research, and when I hear these realtor axioms because they heard that at a sales meeting in 1975, makes no sense. January is a very busy month. We're seeing the numbers here. There's a ton of property selling. What I will say is probably the driver behind that statement, do more homes sell in the spring? Absolutely. There's also more homes available. So if you're a seller, do you want to compete against 10 properties or none? And that's where you need to make a decision and really get an analysis on it. But to my point, this is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. And if anyone's telling you that, get some data or get a new realtor.
Yeah, there's business to be done, so I wouldn't be listening to that kind of nonsense.
All right, so the first agreement. So we're 1 out of 3 here. That's not bad.
Yes.
If you bat 3 for 10, you're in the Hall of Fame. So that's not a bad ratio here. So fourth topic, we're going to go a little bit more of self-help mindset, and this is going to be something we do every week. So we're going to take a quote, and the one quote I want to go over with you here, it's from Napoleon Hill. So if you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, it is like the classic business book. I read it every year. You should do the same. I know we turned you on to it here a couple times.
Yep.
Read that book. It's going to change your life, no question. From Napoleon Hill, so one of the quotes there was, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. What does that mean to you, Jess?
Really, I mean, it's obvious. You can do anything that you think you can do, and if you think you can't, you're not going to be able to. So, like for an example, I used to work with the interior designer in the city, right? She would have me doing all these kinds of things that typically, you would think, you know, I mean, I'm going to sound like stereotypical here, but like a guy should be doing, you know what I mean? Like scraping up polyurethane off of the floor, or like putting up I'm talking huge TVs, like mounting the brackets, things like that, like bringing couches through, you know, tiny little windows in Philly. So, I mean, that's stuff that typically you would think that, you know, I couldn't do, but I was like, I can do it. She believes in me. I know that I can really do anything I set my mind to. So, and then even transitioning into real estate, you know, there was all these preconceived ideas in my head that I had to be a certain way, or, I wasn't going to be able to make it, or I had to conform to how everybody else was. But that just wasn't the case, and I believed I can do it, and I kind of just got right into it. So that's what it means to me anyway.
So let's go a little deper on that. So what were some of the things that you thought may hurt you in real estate, or what did you think you had to do? Obviously, you're doing it now.
Yeah.
So I don't want to minimize that. Jess is super successful. I mean, you sold like 50-some homes in 24 months after not having any experience with real estate whatsoever.
None.
So that's tremendous. I mean, it makes my heart sing when I get to share that with people. But what did you think beforehand?
I just thought that, it was a lot of stupid stuff, like the typical, I remember one instance, I was bartending at Bonefish, and there was this realtor who came in, and she's like, honey, nobody's going to take you seriously. You have long hair. You need to get the short haircut. That's what all the realtors have. Nobody's going to buy a home from you looking like that. Stupid thing that, you think that all the realtors are a certain way. Things like that. Like, you have to know everybody, or you have to be I don't know. I just thought it was kind of silly that she would say something like that.
So are we talking like a bob cut? Is it more like a like short bangs? Like what kind of hair was this woman rocking with that advice?
It was something that I would never ever wear. It just wasn't me, and I feel like as long as you know exactly who you are, you know what I mean? You don't try and be someone you're not. People are going to be drawn to you, and do it your own way. Believe in yourself, and you'll get the job done.
I'm not disputing that. I want to know what kind of hairstyle she had giving you this advice.
Oh, she looked like kind of like longer in the back, shorter in the front, like almost like a mullet. It didn't look good. It didn't look like she updated her business card since 81.
That's like every realtor. So, well, that's the ones that put their face on the card. That's a whole other story. So, you got a great interpretation of this here.
Yeah,
I'm going to go a little different. When I look at the words here, conceive and believe. So, belief is one thing. Conceiving and actually having the plan or putting it in front of you and getting it up in visual is so key. So you talk about vision boarding, and shout out to Byron Lazine, my boy from Connecticut. He told us about this kind of vision board hack. So what a vision board is, basically all the stuff you want to do, you put it up, get it visual, and get it in front of you.
Yeah.
And the way he did it was, at the bottom he put all the stuff that has to happen for work, because that supports everything else. Then in the middle was kind of what he wanted to achieve, and the top was his wife's, which I love because that's being selfless, not selfish. And sometimes vision boards can kind of go that direction. But he conceived what the plan was. I mean, he had it up in visual in front of him. And then when you see it every day and you go through the affirmations, which I used to think were stupid, I'll be the first one to tell you. Now I'm sitting here telling people that on the way to the listing appointment, you want to say affirmations about you getting the listing, so you walk in there with confidence, which works 100% of the time. So you believe it, and then that's how it kind of happens. But conceiving, it's also coming up with the plan to make it happen. So you want to sell 500 homes. What's the plan to do it? You want to lose weight. What's the plan to do it? And that's part of the conception part where a lot of people fall short. They set a goal. They don't have a plan. I'd rather have a bad plan with a really hard goal than no plan at all. And if you can come up with the plan to do it and then believe you can do it, then actually show up every day. And it doesn't have to be 100% of the time. If you show up every day at 85% of the time, Gary V, if you're watching, that's from you, it's going to go a lot further. So I'm with you on that. I mean, you definitely got to believe in yourself, but you also have to have a plan to do it. Because if you don't have a plan, you're kind of swimming in a circle going nowhere.
Absolutely. I agree.
So, we were 2 out of 4 here, 50%.
There we go.
It's not
Beat
bad.
you next time.
I mean, I don't think this is a contest here, but that's the way Jess is approaching it. So
that's the way it is.
We'll be back next week. More great topics. If you see anything here, we're going to put our Instagram handles up. It's a great way to contact us. Direct message, if you want to tag us in a post, story, whatever. We're going to put some social media stuff up at the end of the video here. You got questions, you want to see us cover a topic, local, national, real estate, whatever, we're going to talk about it. We're here to bring some value. We'll be back next week. Thanks for watching episode 1.
See ya.